Hey everyone who's watching. I know it's early in the morning, and I don't know. I thought I'd make this video, just kind of give you my memories of that day because it's still very vivid to me 19 years later. A lot of my former students, you weren't alive, so you don't remember, or you were very young. And in the 19 years since September 11th, 2001, things get minimized. As time passes, people forget things. And it's the reason that I think it's really important on social media and in your interactions with people that you talk about our history and you talk about that day so that it just doesn't become a paragraph or two in a textbook, because that's when things get abstract. That's when things get minimized. That's when history gets altered, So let me get started. September 11th, 2001. I was teaching at 162 down in the Bronx, across from St. Mary's Park on St. Anne's Avenue. IS 162 doesn't even exist anymore. It's become a series of other schools, unfortunately. But I was teaching 7th grade, and I had a smaller class of 15 students. That was it. And they were not special ed. Sometimes they say that. Those kids, I still friends with some of them. And it wasn't. It was just a smaller group to help kids get where they needed to be. And thankfully, many of them did. Anyhow, I had a small group, and we were doing silent reading. Kids were just reading on their own, and I was just watching them quietly. And then I got a knock at the door from the computer teacher down the hallway. Her name was Miss Edwards, and she comes to the door, and I'm mad because the class was really quiet, and I don't like any interactions or disruptions. And so I go to the door, and she's got this crazed look in her face, and she says, "Did you hear the radio? Did you hear the radio? Did you hear the news?" And no, I'm teaching. Why would I hear the news? Why? She said, "Turn on the radio. We're being attacked." And I was like, "What?" She's like, and I could tell she was a very serious woman, so this wasn't like her to interrupt and to act in this way unless something real was happening. So, all right. So I go over to my desk, and back then, you couldn't. Phones didn't have Wi-Fi and all of those things. I still had an actual radio that I used to listen to the news, and I had a set of headphones. And very subtly, I go to my desk and I plug in the headphones and I put on and turn on a news station, and the newscaster is losing her mind. It's 880, and she's like, "Anyone in the area now, any firefighters, any police officers, your services are needed. You're total recall." So I was like, wow. And I listened for another minute or so, and I just realized that the world has been struck by 2 planes at this point, and that's I don't even know what to do with that. And so I turn off the radio. The students were looking at me anyway, and I was like, "Get back to work." But after I hear this, I realize I have to tell them, and I go to the front of the room, and my guys are at eyes here, and I have this one student, Joshua, and he raises his hand. He's like, Mister, can I get some water?" And I'm like, "Not now, Joshua. I got to tell you guys something important, and I need you all here right now." And I just went to the radio, and I heard on the news that 2 planes have struck the World Trade Center, and nobody knows what this is, but this is something really serious. And Joshua throws back up his hand. He's like, "So that's why I can't get water?" And he didn't realize how serious this was. None of us did. But within an hour, we start getting, on the PA system, we start getting huge numbers of announcements of many students to come down for dismissal. The parents are coming to pick them up. This was around 10 o'clock, I guess, at this point. By noon, the building was empty. Every parent had come and taken their child, and we had never dealt with this at this point, and it was unlike anything. We had cell phones, but they were very basic. And what's more, the phone lines went down. Everyone was calling at once and basically crashed the phone systems. And I had I still have a brother, and my brother worked downtown, and my sister worked downtown, and trying to reach them, and I can't. And thankfully, my brother didn't go to work that day, and my sister, they stopped the train at like 59th Street. She had to get out there and walk back to the Bronx, like so many others. But it was just remember being so chaotic, and then we didn't know what was happening after the students were gone. Myself and some of my colleagues were just in the hallways trying to figure out what had happened. And you're hearing all these crazy things. I heard they attacked the White House. I heard there's more planes. I heard we're at war, and you know, we didn't know anything. And you know, the best we could do is get to a television. But again, it's 2001. We didn't have the technology the way we do today. So we really didn't know anything. By about 1:30, our principal says, okay, you guys can go home. You know, we'll be in touch, because it just feels like things are different. We don't know how or why, but we know they're profoundly different. And I get in my friend's truck, and he drives me home, and we're getting on the Bruckner to head back towards Pelham Bay Park, towards Westchester, where he lives, and I lived by Pelham Bay Park. And as we're getting on, I see a huge plume of smoke over southern Manhattan. That's the first chance I had to see any of this. I hadn't seen any television coverage. I hadn't, you know, the internet was still very new, and this is the first time, and it was, oh my God, you know, everything's blacked out. And, you know, we didn't speak. And then I got home, and my brother was there, and it was just he and I living in this apartment, and every channel, ESPN, 247, MTV, everything had live coverage of what was happening. And at this point, you know, I see for the first time what had happened. And, you know, everything's been different ever since, you know, from the way we travel to the way we defend ourselves to our political views to everything, you know. So that's just my anecdote from that day. It was a horrific day. Remember it. I wish I could teach you all. With that, I have to get out of here. I'll talk to you again soon. I hope you can watch this.